Welcome back, people, to Let's Play Tyranny. Today we're talking, taking a stroll through Tunan's court, talking with any NPCs we may find. Speak to these guys. I didn't think we'd make it out of that pass alive. You've done well for the Legion, Fatebinder. Aurora. Oh, I think this is the woman we met when we first arrived in Vendrian's Well. This is Sivius. Anything beats a prolonged siege, eh, Fatebinder? Enjoy the war while you can. Thanks. Also speak with Albertronius. Fatebinder, the lieutenant gives you a curt nod. I'm ill at ease with this polished hall, but I admit it's a reprieve from the battlefield and training grounds. If Ash needs me to stay here and represent his interests throughout the occupation, then I'll be up to the task. Okay. They didn't have a whole lot more to say. Let's speak with these Fatebinders. Let's speak with this guy, Nunoval. Tunan favored one. Cool. Ah, Roland, you return, unscathed and more acclaimed than ever, as seems to be your way. The Fatebinder of War claps you good-naturedly, with excessive strength on the back. Come, you must regale me with all your journey has held. I could use a moment of respite between friends. He regards you with a warm, boisterous smile. Word has reached me that regarding your negotiation tactics. Wait, let me try that line again. Word has reached me regarding your negotiation tactics at Apex. I must admit, I'm impressed that you made headway with the southern wretches. If they are open to reason, it would seem that they aren't as ignorant as the Archon of War would have us believe. Come, let us speak freely. Okay. How are you singled out to be a Fatebinder? I cannot speak for the other Fatebinders, but I joined the court when I was yet still a boy, and impetuous beyond reason. I had been imprisoned with a death sentence for a crime of desecrating corpses. He laughs hard and hearty. Ha! It was nothing so exciting, as you're no doubt imagining. I was merely burning corpses that waited burial. Before the local authority could see me to the gallows, the adjudicator claimed me a great talent, waiting to be realized. I needed only to be steered. Why'd you burn the bodies? Corpses piling up in the streets spread plague faster than the filthiest of rats. I was but 10 and a weak fighter. I did what I could for my homeland. Why was that a crime? There was a time when the Northmen were a superstitious stock, a time before Kyros brought reason to the realms. The people of my city believed that, without proper rites, I was cheating our fallen warriors from returning to the land. It was a good thing that Tunan spared you then. As I have said, the adjudicator saw within me something of rare value, as is true for us all. You were well chosen. You as well were chosen for our great court, for which I am grateful. As the Fatebinder of War, I rely heavily on your talents. Right. Let's talk about something else. Let's see here. Tell me more about Kyros' armies, our allies. Ah, yes. With friends like these, our work is often self-explanatory. Were you asking about the Scarlet Chorus or the Disfavored? Let's ask about the Chorus. Scarlet Chorus soldiers hail from every corner of every realm. As the Chorus marches, it conscripts indiscriminately from those it has conquered to replenish its ranks. There is no continuity of command in the Chorus. Narad encourages even the strong to challenge their leaders. But the Chorus has members, and brute force is almost always a viable solution, as much as Rogalus insists otherwise. Who's Rogalus? He doesn't say. Besides, the Scarlet Chorus draws strength from the multitudes it swallows. Its blood chanters have taken knowledge from various tiers of mystics and many of the chorus's best soldiers were grown here in the south. Tell me about the disfavored. The disfavored are the iron tip of Kyros' great phalanx, armed with the best weapons and the most comprehensive training, and led by the brilliant Graven Ash. The disfavored has no equals in open battle. The Legion has a saying, Graven Ash protects, and it is no empty boast. The Archon of War is able to lend his will and strength to his soldiers and give them endurance beyond human limits. I have great respect for the disfavored, but I know where I stand with them. They are a very close-knit band. All of them are from northern families, many of them related to each other. Nunaval sighs, his smile wistful. Nunaval sighs, his smile wistful. But, considering our role in the great hierarchy, I can't fault Graven Ash for being selective. Right, he would rather join them. I guess he is the Fatebinder of War, or whatever. I've claimed the spire at Vendry as well. So, the court's whispers are true. The Fatebinder rubs fingers along the underside of his chin, pondering his thoughts with great weight. After a moment, he offers you a wistful sort of smile. Someday, I would like to witness for myself this tower that has risen above the realms like a blade thrust into the sky. Okay. I would hear of your past victories in the war, or of recent events. Have you not tired of my tales, Roland? I do admit that I never tire of telling them. He laughs, hearty and deep. Very well then, let me champion the feats of my conquest. Let the glory of Kyros' reign fall on any ears that would hear of it. I had a recent and inspiring exchange with a few brave men who had trespassed into the old walls. In fact, I haven't enjoyed a spar quite so much in ages. It nearly felt a shame to put them to the sword for their crimes. And that's it. Okay. I'm curious about Tunon's masks. Well, maybe I shouldn't ask. Well, let's ask. They can be rather unsettling, can't they? Even to one such as me. But I can assure you, the innocent need not fear their objective, emotionless gaze. What of the adjudicator's masks specifically would you like to know? Have you ever seen Tunon change his masks? In the way that you or I would change our raiment? No, not as such. And yet I have seen the masks shift. They switch without the adjudicator or anyone so much as laying a hand on them. Wait, let me try that line again. They switch without the adjudicator or anyone so much as laying a hand on them. It is not something you can watch unfold. After a time, you merely realize that it has already happened. There is work enough for the court that we shouldn't occupy ourselves with wondering over mysteries. Alright, I want to know about the silent face. The silent face is the face that Tunon shows us now. And, for that, we are fortunate beyond belief. The silent face is a patient face. A face for listening as Tunon presides over all matters brought to the court, taking great pains to ensure all sides of the issue are heard. I want to know about the face of resolve. Tunon's last known dawning of the face of resolve was the moment he judged and called ruin to half the districts in the bastard city. Since then he has ruled over the northern tier justly, calmly, and with efficient diplomacy. Judged and called to ruin half the districts in the bastard city. I don't remember ever hearing about that before. I want to know about the face that is no more. Tunon is said to have worn a third mask in Neon's past. I have heard rumor that the face displeased Kyros and thus was destroyed. This happens to all persons that object, and objects that displease the Overlord. Okay, farewell. Speak with the Fatebinder Callio. Is this a woman or a man? Can I tell? Yeah, it's a woman. Roland, I see that you've returned to the fold. Your exploits in Vendrian's Well are the matter of some discussion. Fatebinder of Balance regards you with a discerning eye, and for a moment you feel as if she is trying to peer into the very depths of your mind. What can I do for you? Callio touches a gentle hand to your shoulder. Alright. Has anything happened while I was away? Rogalus traveled to the Vellum Citadel to secure the archives for our gracious overlord. Sages were paved there proved more stubborn than we'd anticipated, and so Rogalus was forced to proclaim Kyros' edict of fire, consuming the citadel in a gulf of flames. A sad affair. How have you occupied your time in the Bastard City? Tunon sends me on assignments here and there. I settle disputes between the locals and the adjudicator, and when the adjudicator is otherwise occupied. She smirks. Everything from trade disagreements to pushing chorus squatters out of basements. Real rewarding work. She waves it off. The glory of war is not an honor reserved for the likes of us. We're the fish swimming in Tunon's wake, picking up scraps along the way. We're rather large and imposing compared to the bottom feeders of the tiers, but fish all the same. I'd like to know more about Tunon. Tunon is our overlord's fair and exacting adjudicator. He speaks with the voice of Kyros' law, and his word is judgment. All of this and more you can learn by asking him yourself. Go on. Or does he intimidate you still? She chuckles softly. I jest, of course. Okay, you seem to know much about my actions. Have you been spying on me? Don't act so surprised. It is my duty to ensure that those who operate under the adjudicator's name adhere to the spirit of the law, if not the very letter. And those who don't will be dealt with swiftly and efficiently at the point of Blood and Mark's blade. Fatebinder. Let's see. The Fatebinder slips a slim dagger from the folds of her purple garb, flopping the weapon almost idly in the air. Of course, that is assuming I don't dispatch them first. I take my duty seriously, and I am very, very good at it. I think that's a threat. I have some concerns about the war. You are free to share them in my confidence. She leans closer. Our armies squabble at each other's throats. Divided, we cannot win. I am less concerned with the armies than the Archons themselves. There can be no order when mountains collide. Who would you see as the champion? The disfavored. Our elite troops will bring us victory. There is wisdom beyond your reasoning. Wars are won through cunning, strategy, and strength. The disfavored are outmatched only in number on the battlefield. Considering their opposition, Ash and his soldiers more than make up the difference. Farewell. This is Rogalus. Alright. Fatebinder Rogalus. Fatebinder, you return. Rogalus looks you up and down with an inscrutable expression. You look as though you have questions for me to untangle. Ask. I'm feeling generous. I want to talk about the sages. I will not speak of the sages. They are no better than charlatans and cons, wholly selfish in their ill pursuit to hoard knowledge from others. They are self-blinded by their own deceptions and clever manipulations. They alone cause their own undoing and are solely to blame for the burning library, one of the most grievous wrongs in the known histories, for which they can never be forgiven. See, previously known as the Vellum Citadel. This is the burning library. The archive and ancestral home of the sages is now the site of a volcanic crater. Eruptions of lava began during the conquest of the Tears after Kyros' forces failed to claim the library in the Overlord's name. Kyros cast an edict of fire to break the siege and rid the world of the forbidden knowledge that stored there. The citadel has been a smoldering ruin ever since. Okay. What can you tell me about the old walls and the Bane? Where should I start? Yeah, tell me about the old walls. I've yet to hear about this. We know very little about the ancient structures, save that they predate all historical record. The forbidding ruins crisscross the Tears and North alike centuries before we raised our cities. The only one old enough to guess is likely Kyros, right? I wonder how long Kyros has been alive. He's supposed to be immortal, isn't he? Tell me about the Bane. The Bane are found in the old walls, but much of their defining qualities still escape me. They are creatures of smoke, claw, and fang. If you find yourself unfortunate enough to fight one, remember that spells are effective against them, but grab the attention of others lurking near. I see. Let's discuss something else. Where did you study when you were younger? I've been a ward of the court for as long as I've been aware. As a child, I demonstrated wholly perfect recall, and I absorbed all the Tunon and my tutors had to offer. I remember hating all the lectures and wishing I could learn at my pace. Funny how I envied the sages of the Tears, how they could spend their whole lives reading and never exhaust their library. Of course, now the Vellum Citadel is nothing more than a burning waste. Tell me about some of the past Archons. Okay. Waramas of the Mire, the Archon of Fungus. There's an Archon of Fungus. Well, used to be, I suppose. Produced most of the flora in the swampland of Nettlebog. A stooped hermit who rather resembled a dapperling. He was never once reported to have left the swamp. Some believe he still lives within the land, although there's no sighting of him in nearly 300 years. That's cool. What do you think of the other Fatebinders? You'll need to be more specific than that, I'm afraid. There is, on last count, slightly more than a handful of us. What is your opinion of the Archon of War? Nunaval's keen, brash, and hardy braggart with a fondness for bloodshed. He can be utterly unbearable at times. His justice is fair, even if he skews towards rather exacting and uncompromising punishments at times. And the Fatebinder of Balance. And Callio is the finest among us. Her discernment is beyond reproach. She is perhaps Tunal's favorite. She has a mind for suspicion and observation that makes others uneasy. We operate within the confines of the law, have nothing to fear, of course. I'm not gonna ask him his opinion of me to his face. Who cares? Roland is who he is. Let's see. I like to know more about the Tears. The political entities of the Tears are essentially split between the Bastard Tier, the Younger Realms, and the Free Cities. Which one would you like to know? Tell me about the Free Cities. There are 3 free cities remaining: Last Harbor, Spiral's Maw, and Barris in Chains. The first and strongest of the free cities was the setting sun, which Kyros crushed in 429 with the Edict of Tumult. After that, the remaining free cities were quick to surrender. Okay. What can you tell me about the Bastard Tier? The Bastard Tier is the most northern of the tiers and was the first to bow to Kyros' reign. Though the knee they bent fell unwillingly, Kyros had his eye on the Bastard Tier for many years before he marched on their capital city. This is the hub of trade and commerce. Claim the markets and the people will follow. I see. Curious to know more about the Younger Realms. The younger realms sprawl the middle and southernmost tiers and can be found catalogued as follows: Apex, Azure, Haven, and Stalwart. Azure was renowned for its exceptionally fertile land, which fed the whole of the tiers. That was before the Kyros' Edict of Stone blighted the land. I see. I was pretty dumb. I mean, people need to eat. Let's see, Stalwart is also worth mention, for it compromises the whole of the southernmost tier, and proves the toughest and most defensible of the realms. It is often said that the other realms will not fall while Stalwart yet stands. The local army wages bitter war against the disfavored. Though the Edict of Storms has cut off the best of their defenses, it is only a matter of time before Stalwart falls. Okay, back to my previous questions. Okay, farewell. Cool. Oh, there's Bitter Quip, Mocking Blaze, and Blood Mulch. Let's speak to Mocking Blaze. I'd immolate you right where you stand if it weren't for Tunon breathing down our necks. Bitter Quip. He ignores you with a stern and distant expression. And Blood Mulch. Let's see, Fatebinder. You are no stranger to Tunon's court, but I prefer to spend as little time here as possible. In spite of these closed walls, I feel strangely exposed. He glances up at Tunon. Fair warning. When you backed Ash, you were as good as signing your death warrant. But we shouldn't discuss such matters in a court of law. You'll make our time in the tiers an interesting one, won't you? He smiles for an uncomfortably long time. Of course you will. I suppose so. You're welcome to try me. At any time, any petitioners that displease Tuna would meet their fate in the pits below the court. Oh, really? Okay. Kyros is standard? Oh. Hello. Oh, this is Blood and Mark. Welcome back, kid. Amusing as it would have been to watch the edict drop. I guess I'm glad you loved. Blood and Mark are the Archon of Shadows, rouses from a faraway stare, turning to face you with a wry smile. Although he stands still, he seems to sift in and out of the shadows that shroud him. I hear you threw your rings on Graven Ash's side. Not a bad bet to pick the Archon of War. But tell me the truth. Did you go with Ash because it seemed like the right thing to do, or because supporting the voices would be a worse option? Archon of the Elderly. I don't know. I'm not gonna insult him. See, our lives depended on military success. I was not about to hand control to the Archon of Secrets. Neither Archon was at their best, but Graven Ash is the more capable warlord. A sane creature would trust the voices of Narat. Yes, I think that's the... I think that is the proper response. I mean, he is proven to be a treacherous bastard. So yeah, what sane creature would trust the voices of Narat? Give fear with verse. Okay. One does like to win a battle every once in a while. At least the voices of Narat isn't consumed by grief or hesitation, like some Archons I know. Don't mistake him. The Archon of Secrets thrives on mistrust. When everyone believes you're lying, speaking the truth is a fine blade with which to cut your enemy. All that matters is that the edict of execution was stayed, and those stations at Vendrian's Well should be thanking you for their lives. Now, I assume you're off to meet Ash, but first, you and I need to have a little chat. I'm listening. Everyone's keeping an eye on you, because you did something nobody has ever done before. Got a guess to what that might be? I'm the first to resolve an edict before its consequences come to pass. Close, but not quite. It's rare. But it's not the first time that Kyros has issued an edict, primarily as a threat, providing the target sufficient time and motivation to comply in order to avoid the edict's punishing effects. Proclaiming an edict isn't new, neither is surviving or resolving its commandments of an edict. Or resolving the commandments of an edict, but you're the first to proclaim and resolve the very same edict, and it didn't kill you. In one fell swoop, you survived your second edict, resolved the very one you had proclaimed, and then woke an arcane structure that had slept for several centuries. Yeah, why should I care about any of this?
Kyros only knows if you should, but others will hear of what you've done, and they'll assume it's important. They could come to see you as a rival for the Overlord's attention, and seek to remedy the problem of your rising significance.
I don't care what you do with the information, but you should know the danger that you're in now that you've put yourself on the map. Sticking with the disfavored is a smart idea, kid. At least smarter than getting mixed up with the Archon of Secrets. You'll never really be one of them, but you value Ash's warriors. They'll serve you the best they can. Thanks for the advice. The Archon of Secrets shrugs to you in farewell, but his golden eyes are alight with interest as he watches you. Okay. Let's see. Can I speak with him now? How about a little breathing room, kid? Sure. Kyros is standard, an imposing sight for both conquered and unconquered alike. Okay. Let's see here. There is the lady Lucretius. I think that's the only NPC I haven't talked to yet. And we also need to petition Tunon on the sake of Barrack. Lady Lucretius. This well-dressed older woman stands apart from the milling crowds of nobles. She stares off into the distance, oblivious to your approach until you're right in front of her. Oh, greetings, she offers a reserved smile. And Lucretius, formerly of Thistleholm. You have the look of someone who belongs here. A fatebinder, no doubt? She nods. Do you need something from me? What's Thistleholm? A great sigh deflates her. It was my family's ancestral hall. The oldest stones dated back to the years when the bastard city was naught but a dozen roofs and wagons clustering for warmth. Compared to the houses of the great lords, it was nothing special. Age had softened the woods, and its queer placement in the warehouse district set it apart from the finer grounds where lords and ladies strolled for amusement. It was a mess, but our mess all the same. I would invite you over for tea, something stronger even, but it would only disappoint. You'd find naught there but a gaping hole. What happened? Collateral damage happened. When the adjudicator cast his judgment on the bastard city, he destroyed the districts of the corrupt merchant kings, their manors, their counting houses, and yes, their warehouses. Aged, dignified Thistleholm collapsed as a massive sinkhole opened under her foundation. The bastard city's laws may not have been perfect to Kyros' standards, but my family followed them with respect, and never took a copper ring more than we deserved. I can't help but feel that my estate was not the criminal Tunon had in mind during his sentencing. So what are you gonna do next? That's the question, isn't it? I appealed to the adjudicator, thinking he would see reason. After considering my case for all of 8 seconds, he rewarded me a belt of rings and a plot of land on the outskirts of the city. Tunon told me to build anew and start farming. Farming. Can you believe that? She shakes her head. It is not even that I'm opposed to the labor, but we're at war. I can't have the scarlet chorus breathing down my neck, raiding my crops, and Kyros knows what else. Right. Tunon's word is Kyros' law, whether you think it's fair or not. That is true. Kyros' law are made to serve the masses, not the individual. That is also true. But that would be, I guess, you know, a matter of semantics. The first option is just the practical one. So I think I'm leaning towards that one. Stop whining and take your rings. Justice is done. The Scarlet Chorus are dogs. I suggest you use those rings to higher protection. Well, I guess she can figure that out for herself. Tunon's word is Kyros' law, whether you think it fair or not. Don't I know it? She huffs. Meaning no disrespect to you or your office, I never questioned the power of Tunon's words. I come from a long line of smart, ring-savvy merchants, but even I can't reconcile Tunon's justice with Kyros' law. There's something wrong about it all. Maybe Tunon knows something I don't, or maybe... She trails off, shaking her head in doubt. You presume to know more of justice than the adjudicator. No, it is not that at all. I'm saying that I don't understand Kyros' law as well as I thought I did. Maybe none of us do. People come here for justice. They usually get a version of it, but it's Tunon's version, not theirs. Half the time, they don't even get what they wanted out of a ruling in their favor. She shakes her head. The deed to a farm, for instance. Not to put my own ignorance on display, but if more people knew how Kyros' law worked, they might not come here seeking a ruling at all, even a fair one. Tunon is a servant of law, but he is the Overlord's vassal as much as any of us. Sometimes, it seems like he uses his position to twist everything in the Empire's favor. We're just pieces on a board, and he can move us, wherever the law justifies we stand. That doesn't sound legal, does it? Okay, I have enough subterfuge to try to extort her. I don't think I would do that. Right. Kyros defines law. That isn't for either of us to question. She sighs. I suppose not. The bastard city used to have laws of women and mankind, but now we have the laws of the Overlord. The people will get accustomed to it in time, and so will I. Good day, Fatebinder. Yeah. I suppose that's the way Roland would have handled it. He's like, he's quite devout to his cause, I should say. Not very, but, you know, tolerant that people might not understand, but he'll just state the obvious and leave it at that. You return. It is gratifying to see the war has not caused you to forget your roots. What is it that you wish to know? I have a request from Barak of the Stone Shields. And what does Barak of the Stone Shields want from the court? He has made his displeasure known in a loud enough voice to collapse the tiers upon each other. The adjudicator glares down at Barak. He came to inquire if the Forge-bound could help remove his armor. If he has become encased in iron, that is none of the court's concern. My forge-bound smiths are occupied crafting weapons for the army, and I would not have their focus diverted to liberate one soldier from his raiment. Stone shield. Do the disfavored not have standards for upkeeps of arms and armor? Is this not one of your Archon's guiding principles? It is, Your Honor, but I found myself trapped within this junk pile after the Edict of Storms hit Stalwart. If you want to blame anyone, it should be Kyros. The adjudicator contemplates the matter in total silence. The moment drags on far longer than you would suspect it warrants, but Tunan's interests does not abate for one moment. The soldier will remain encased in his armor, eccentric though it may be. All subject of Kyros are forbidden to aid in its removal. Magic the likes of which none of us understand has touched the stone shield, and we will not interfere with the will of Kyros. That's exactly what I said. But I'm trapped. Beric trails off, looking to you for answer. Your Honor, could you not reconsider? It is hardly my place to do so, but, Beric has done me some good. Roland, so I will ask. Oh, he did not like that. I am surprised and disappointed that you would even ask. Whatever you are trying to prove to your traveling companion, the court finds it festering with sympathy and lack of precedent. Such is the will of Kyros, and the will of the court. Tunan nods and bangs his gavel. You tried, and I suppose that counts for something. The adjudicator didn't say anything about bending my way out of here, at least. Not that trying has ever made it better. Tell me of Kyros. Tunan favor 2. Cool. Kyros is our overlord. He ushers us from the brink of chaos with a stern hand and gestures to the way of peace. We are only too eager to follow in her perfect example. Wait, what? Kyros is a woman? How old is Kyros? By our reckoning, her age upon Turritus is magnificent. Her true span defies measurement by our limited construct of time. It would be a waste to bend our few pitiable years attempting to solve that riddle of existence. To think of Kyros not as a subject to beginnings or endings. Kyros is, and Kyros will ever be. I couldn't help but notice you referred to Kyros as a woman. Beware that trajectory of thought, save for her perfection. There is little about Kyros which we could ascribe recognizable attributes. A power as distant and unknowable as the Overlord should transcend our petty dualities. Male, female, it makes no difference. Kyros is mother to us all. I'm noticing a bad vibe here, that I'm pissing him off. It could have something to do with the pop-ups that I've gained wrath with Tunan. But I think we'll not discuss Kyros further. Tell me about Blood and Mark. He is my henchman and an assassin without equal. His official designation in Kyros' hierarchy is the Archon of Shadows, though I wonder if he ever considers himself aught but a slayer of the unjust. How do you earn this title? His work away from the court takes Blood and Mark to the dark places of the world. The Tears and Northern Empire alike. Over time, Shadows became his dominion. They cloak him, protect him, and even fight for him if the need arises. Oh, really? That's cool. It is said that Blood and Mark can travel to any place where shadows are cast. Only he would know this for certain. I'm trying my best to emulate Tunan's voice in like a dispassionate, neutral thing, but it's kind of hard. Does Blood and Mark serve you alone? Your question is flawed. We are all servants of Kyros. The Archons are also agents of their own interest, those chosen few empowered to bring order to the world in accordance with Kyros' peace. At present, Blood and Mark is my vassal, and I his patron. The relationship is not so different from Graven Ash and Cairn, the fallen Archons. The fallen Archon, or the voices of Nerat, and his songbird Siren. Such partnerings and apprenticeships are common. They provide mutual benefit to the Archons involved, as well as a measure of oversight. I see. Back to my other questions. I wish to speak about matters of law. Then you are well situated, for my court is the legal heart of this corrupt and uncivilized realm. What matters draws your curiosity? You are already well versed in Kyros' law, but I am happy to discuss the particulars. Yes, I'm curious about the restriction on forbidden knowledge. Kyros herself sets the standard for what can and cannot be known. These restrictions are rarely enforced, but they are worth taking into account. During the war, for example, Kyros deemed the knowledge of the Vellum Citadel taboo. No one may possess the wisdom of that fallen repository, save Kyros herself. Calling it taboo seems a little, I don't know, like overkill. But to play Kyros' advocate, really? The world would hardly be a safer place had all the lore of making potions or the art of arming brigands be in fine bronze. Wait. Could hardly be a safer, right. Never mind. I think you get the gist of it. This is for the protection of our subjects. Before the coming of Kyros, during the ages of anarchy and discord, powerful knowledge in undeserving hands leveled empires without thought or mercy. Kyros has no desire to revisit those dark times. Let's discuss the old walls. The old walls are forbidden, as are their contents and their denizens. Owning any item from the old walls is considered trespass, regardless of how it came into your possession. Mind that in the course of your travels. As the old walls extend across much of the tiers and the Northern Empire alike, Kyros permits her servant to pass only where she has sculpted the landscape to permit traverse. Under no circumstances are you to enter a breach in the old walls, even for a task as innocent as crossing to the other side. If these restrictions seem too severe, I would remind you that they are for the protection of Kyros' subjects. The Overlord has no desire to see harm needlessly inflicted upon her loyal followers. I wish to discuss Kyros' peace. The cornerstone of our wartime efforts, of course. Kyros' peace guarantees all willing supplicants under the Overlord's authority a place in her world. The exact wording of the bylaw is, "Your life is not yours to discard. The Overlord has plans for you." This extends to several spheres of influence. Among others, it grants protection to enemies who surrender in a time of war, and it forbids suicide. To dispense with the Overlord's vassal and property is prohibited. I say. That is all for now. Farewell. My voice is getting tired, and I think we'll be back here someday. I don't think any questions, or any other of the questions there seemed appropriate to our task at hand, you know? So we'd rather not piss Tunon off too much. Let's see, right, speak to Barak. I should do that also. Let's see, only the slightest nod of Barak's domed helm offers any indication that the soldier noticed your approach. It should not surprise you that the Archon Tunon would not unmake what was wrought by the Overlord's wrath. No surprise, no disappoint. Yes. The Archon's decision changes nothing. I have persevered to this point. I shall continue to do so, for the sake of General Ash and the North. Spoken like a fellow soldier, but the bureaucracy doesn't always respect the sacrifices made by those who defend it. If only every member of the court possessed your perspective. Well, we tried. Do we actually give a shit about what Tunon said? He's not the only one who has to march next to this mobile mid-deep. I say, fuck it. Let's find a way to pry Barak out of his oversized chastity belt and then melt the damn thing into swords. I appreciate your enthusiasm, Verse, but Tunon's word carries the authority of Kyros himself. It should be neither ignored nor skirted. Maybe we keep the armor then. Put some sheep's wool in there to pad it. Let you strap in whenever there's action to be had. Nobody has to know that you've been freed. I'd know. My honor demands my compliance with the ruling. Your master was very specific in his sentence. He forbade not only the assistance of the Forgebound, but from anyone, anywhere in the world. If your honor demands that you remain in your armor, in the armor you'll remain. It does. Thank you for understanding. He bows his head to you and moves away. Trailing behind him is the wafting reek of a fetid privy. I know. Oh, okay. Enlist the aid of Forgebound. Quest fail. Oh, right. Because we, right. Enlist the aid of Forgebound not subject to Kyros' law. Mm-hmm. Well, it says failed. I don't like that term, failed, because I don't think I failed. I think I completed the quest in the way that Roland would complete that quest. And besides, it's for the best. It is Kyros' will, after all. So yeah, thank you for watching another episode of Let's Play Tyranny. Next time, what will we do next time? Into the Maelstrom. Support Graven Ash's initial attempt to pacify the tears. I suppose we'll do that. Stirring Visions. We'll try to support Graven Ash. Let's see. Can I have a look at the map? Is there a map that I can see here? Biography, encyclopedia, notes, records. No, I don't have a map, so I can't show you. But anyway, look forward to it. I think it will be fun. Oh, there's the world map. Right. So that's Ironhearth. Let's read about Ironhearth. Oh, it doesn't. It says something here. Let's see. This massive fortress is what does it say? It perched atop the edge of a tier that helps form the Bladegrave's northern border. Graven Ash took the ancient castle during the conquest and now launches all disfavored operations from this well-defended location. Smart. Cool, so we'll head to Ironhearth next time. Yeah, thank you for watching and see you then.